Hello, good afternoon. Hope my voice is audible. So we'll start today's session. Okay. So we'll start with the most popular news of the week, that is UCC Uniform Civil Code. Hope I'm sure that you might have come across this from the past, at least past 1 week. And what are your inputs regarding this? Or on what basis should we focus on when it comes to exam perspective? So all these years, we have seen that maybe several states have tried passing law on UCC, or maybe even there were talks regarding Uniform Civil Code. But now Uttarakhand becomes the first state to implement UCC. That is the current news as of now. So from the exam perspective, we go back to the static part, Article 44. Hope you have come across that already. And certain historical underpinnings, possibly, or even what is the takeaway? What are the takeaways from the current state, which has passed its UCC bill or the act itself? So all these are very important. Okay, apart from that, we know that every week, most of the weeks, we see that in the parliament or in the state assemblies, various acts or legislations will be tabled. So some of them where it might draw criticism from the public, or there can be difference of opinion, but that remains as a part of controversial thing, and we just focus on the static part of it and its origin and its other various aspects. Correct. So we'll see what is in the news first, then we shall move on to its basic part and also some part of history as well. Okay. So Uttarakhand became the first state in the country to implement Uniform Civil Code, which presents common law for marriage, divorce, inheritance of property. So what does UCC exactly mean? When we say uniform, it is same, or same law, or same code of conduct, or for every citizen of India to follow the same process or the rules and regulations, regardless. Why it is called as uniform? Because it applies regardless of their religion, caste, or gender. So the own respective religious laws or the regulations would not fall under this. That's the idea. So UCC bill, which will now become an act, is based on the draft submitted by a high-level committee formed by Uttarakhand government under the chairmanship of retired Supreme Court Judge Justice Ranjana P. Desai. These are the takeaways from the news. And apart from that, what the government has tabled and what does it clearly specifies, and why exactly do we consider, or why did we take so many years even for this very state to bring this UCC? Why there is always a difference of opinion when it comes to Uniform Civil Code? What according to you is true? Can you give me your inputs regarding Uniform Civil Code? Where it all originated in the first place? When we say, yes, religious ideologies. When we say regarding UCC, we know that it is part of 44, Article 44, Directive Principle of State Policy. The state, it says, the state shall endeavor to secure for the citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India, wherein it is, we know that DPSP is also non-justiciable in nature, right? It is non-justiciable in nature. That's the reason it is under DPSP. So when we go back to its history, okay, when we go back to its history, it was adopted, this article was adopted. This article was adopted by the Constituent Assembly by 1948 itself, 1948, after a much spirited debate, we can say, because the two parties or the different parties in the Constituent Assembly had their own views or opinions. So one of the assembly member named Muhammad Ismail Khan. Muhammad Ismail Khan was one of the assembly members. So he was representing All India Muslim League. All India Muslim League. So this person opened the debate by suggesting an addition to Article 35. What is Article 35, if you can recollect and tell me? Article 35, which later became or later was brought under Article 44. So he's pushed that, provided that any group, any section, any community shall not be obliged to give up its own personal law, if at all there is such a law. Because Uniform Civil Code say that everybody should follow the same procedure. So this person tabled his opinion, saying that even though such a procedure is brought in, personal law should not be given up. This was one of the arguments. Because today what we see, how it was passed, when we see its background, we have come a really long journey in order to implement this, in spite of difference of opinion, we can say, at least this one particular state. So this person argued that a secular state should not interfere with religious practices. This is where we are actually, as one of you mentioned, yes, religious practices is the main uh, obstacle, or maybe that is where this conflict is arising. It should not interfere with the religious practices, as it could bring in discontent or maybe differences in a secular state. That was the idea. And this amendment was much needed. I asked you a question. Article 35 is what? So which later became Article 44. Okay. So this was the main idea of one of the Constituent Assembly members. However, Congress members supported, by then, Congress members of the Constituent Assembly supported Uniform Civil Code. Okay. When All India Muslim League, they had a different idea. Congress members did support a Uniform Civil Code. So one person, if you remember the prominent personality, K.M. Munshi, K.M. Munshi, Congress member, he viewed that UCC was, in a way, UCC was tyrannical, but still, state must endeavor that it should not interfere in religious practice, but we can have it. But without interfering, we cannot be selectively uniform. Uniform means it should be equal, obviously. That is also there. So many difference of opinions. And one more person to quote was Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, another member of the drafting committee, also spoke against that UCC will cause discontent. So some in the Congress were supporting, some were not, and this was happening from the age-old times. This is not the first time we can see the difference of opinion. So finally, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar provided certain assurances, so that, okay, anyway, we are having too many of opinions. So we have to make sure that let's focus on the language, saying that the state shall endeavor, will try. Look at the word that was used, how carefully, how well crafted, wherein endeavor means endeavor means we try, right? So the protected, this very word actually tried to protect the interest of the various community or concerned communities. So he argued that the wording ensured that the UCC could not be imposed on all citizens. It is up to the welfare of the state. When we say non-justiciable in nature, UCC is non-justiciable in nature, it is for the welfare of the state. These wordings were specifically used so that they should there should not be any more differences in the future also. So that's why we say that this is like law of the land. The Constitution is the law of the land. Is such a well crafted, well thought Constitution, wherein it really took a long time. Today we just say that it is easy for us to say that. One can only imagine how meticulously the Constitution was drafted, right? So this was the background I'm just placing before you. Now we will see what are the takeaways from Uttarakhand's bill or the act as of now. So the state says that the prohibitions in UCC, what is being prohibited. First, initially it made news on live-in relationships. Maybe you have come across that as well, I believe. So UCC prohibits both bigamy and polygamy, multiple marriages, ensuring individuals cannot marry multiple spouses simultaneously or while still legally married to another. Why it is specifically mentioned? Because in some religion this has been allowed, in some community it has been accepted. So this particular prohibition will be brought under UCC, which applies in the state of Uttarakhand. That is the first key highlight. Okay. And Next is exemption. Already Uttarakhand, we can see section 144, and there is other issues, totally different issue that is happening. More to come, we do not know. So soon after this, or whether it is connected or not connected, we never know, but this is happening already. Then exemption for scheduled tribes is given. The Uttarakhand government has exempted members of ST from the purview of the UCC, because tribal cultures, tribal rituals are subjected to their own belief, and moreover, less likely they'll be part of, most of the scheduled tribes in India are not part of the mainstream society. They have their own rituals, own practices. That's the reason, if at all we apply UCC, that would be a tyranny, what our drafters or the four constitutional thinkers mentioned in the background or in the historical perspective. So that would again recur. So that's the reason STs are excluded from this. Then scope of exemption, one more exemption is, exemption includes individuals classified as scheduled tribes under Article 366 of the Constitution, those whose customer rights are safeguarded under Part 21st of the Constitution. So these have a complete exemption. Some activity, some rituals of the scheduled tribes do not come under UCC. It is clearly mentioned, because Uttarakhand is also one of the states wherein it has many number of tribes, right? Then legal protection. This exemption ensures that the customary rights and practices of scheduled tribes regarding marriage, inheritance, and other civil matters remain protected under existing constitutional provisions. The constitutional, where all this UCC is not applied, we refer to constitutional provisions only for these people. This is the main thing. I mean, as of now, marriage is mostly highlighted, and the other activities which are pertaining to a particular or some religion, some community. This is what we see in UCC from the Uttarakhand's arguments. But for us, you can go back to DPSP, UCC. I just briefed up regarding the history part of it, how it came to being, and how it was finally concluded. So these are our takeaways. This can be a potential question in both prelims and mains, not only in prelims, but also in mains. Okay, so keep a tab on this, and we move on to the next one, because it is still, when we say UCC, it is still an ongoing narrative. This is not going to end here. This is just this week's news. More to come in the upcoming weeks. You have to follow the narrative. That is what I can say. Then PRI, Panchayat Raj institutions, regarding this topic. So panchayats in India earn only 1% of their revenue through taxes, the data says. That is what the recent news about. So the Reserve Bank of India has recently published a report named Finances of Panchayat Raj Institution. Remember the organization which has published the report. The report name is Finances of Panchayati Raj Institutions for the fiscal year 2022-23, providing insights into financial operations of PRI. We know Panchayat Raj institutions, again, one more a very important topic for your mains and prelims, and those who have taken public administration or sociology or whatever. Even for any of your state level exams, this particular area is very, very important, because we are closely connected to this in and around, for a basic awareness also, right? Panchayat Raj institutions. So this is also from the polity topic. From this perspective only we have to look into. But first, let us look into the data that is given by RBI report, and then we move on to the basic aspects of PRI. Okay. So here the line also says that most of their revenue comes from the center and the states as grants. How they work, how they function, it is because of the revenue that is provided by the center and the states. But recently said that they receive only minimal of the revenue from the taxes. So that is what the data says. This article was published on Hindu. You can look into it. A clear statistical information is also being given here. So make sure that you, go through it. Okay. So the key takeaways from the report, let's have a glance over it. Okay. For knowing it, we never know what kind of questions can be coming up. Maybe factual part also, there is a possibility. So what are the key takeaways from the report? Revenue sources, hope it is visible for you, the font. Font panchayats primarily rely on grants from the central and state governments, with only 1% of the revenue generated through taxes. What revenue we are generating or the government is generating through taxes, that is only 1% of it, or 1% of the grant where panchayats are getting, both from the central and the state. So total revenue in the financial year 2022-23, panchayats amassed a total revenue of 35,354 crores, with a mere 737 crore from own tax revenue. So it is very less when compared from panchayat. It has amassed, or the government has accumulated so many crores, and the grants would be minimal, is what it said. So each panchayat earned an average of 21,000 from the taxes and 73,000 from non-tax revenue, while receiving substantial grants from central and state governments. Panchayat's share in the state revenue varies widely among states, with states such as Andhra Pradesh have minimal shares. Uttar Pradesh have relatively higher shares. The revenue share, when we speak of, the top share is from Andhra, is at in Andhra Pradesh, and the low share is in Uttar Pradesh. So apart from that, interstate disparities, every time the budget have been tabled, interim or any budget, general budget, always, we have seen in the previous session also, there can be difference of opinion, like, okay, this state is not being given a better budget, or the allocations are not being done, and there'll be protest and there'll be criticism. That is everywhere. I mean, every time the government tables its budget, that is quite common. And yes, some are facts and some are like hyped up aspects also. So we need not go or delve into the controversial part of it. We'll just look into the, what do you call as, the current facts. Okay. So RBI recommendations. RBI advocates for greater decentralization, financial autonomy, and community involvement in Panchayat Raj to enhance sustainability and effectiveness. So here, I don't think so the question will be asked on the amount that is allocated. Rather, you have to look into RBI's role. Its report, maybe a simple question on the report's name and the RBI's role in it. And the question on Panchayat Raj. Panchayat Raj, again, the question is being asked in mains and prelims. So anything and everything regarding Panchayat Raj, the articles, the provisions, the constitutional provisions, all matters. Okay. Yes. So we will look into key points from the static perspective. Anyway, you'll have to revise it, but still, we will look into it so that you can brush it up again, the same thoughts. So Panchayat Raj institutions were established by the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act 1992, which gave them constitutional status. So Panchayat Raj institutions are constitutional bodies. That's the first point you have to keep in mind, right? Because they were established by the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act 1992, Panchayat Raj institutions. So there are 3 tiers, that is Gram Sabhas, which is at the village and group of villages. We have Panchayat Samitis, block councils, and Jilla Parishads, district council. So village, block, and district. So 3 tiers, depending upon various states or maybe regions. Different names are also given, depending upon the clusters of the village as well. So how are they empowered? Which article of the Constitution provides an authority for the Panchayat Raj institutions to function? It is Article 243G. These are very rudimentary, very basic. Maybe you have learned already in your polity class, or you're going to learn new batch or anyone here. So make sure that this particular chapter is really important. Okay. Yes. So these are the factual things. So 243G of the Indian Constitution granting state legislatures the authority to confer self-government. So when we say local self-government is not a post-independence thought. The very foundation was led by one of the British governors, that is Lord Ripon, if you remember or if you have learned already. Okay, Lord Ripon is called as the father of self-government, local self-government in India. So after that, because of the need, because villages are the backbone, so all the functional or administrations to start from the grassroots level. From this perspective, this was amended, or 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act was passed. So, financial empowerment of PRIs is facilitated through provisions outlined in 243G. Remember, you can keep on writing the articles, which article focuses on what. 243G grants state legislatures the authority to confer self-government functions upon panchayats. So it is the power for the panchayats to take up the administration. Financial empowerment is being mentioned in Article 243H, Article 283, and Article 243I of the Constitution. So 280, again, when we say it is Finance Commission as well, that is where there is a link that is going on. Okay, so financial empowerment is being seen in these provisions of the Constitution. Just to keep in mind, as this is not a like core polity, I cannot actually delve into it. I'm just giving you a glance of it so that you'll have to read it in the static part. This is one, and apart from that, some of the other articles explicitly when we go. Article 243H allows state legislature to authorize panchayats to levy, collect, and appropriate taxes, duties, tolls, and fees subject to certain conditions and limit. So the legislatures, the state legislatures, authorize the panchayat to collect taxes. Which article is that? 243H. Because when we say 243 here, it starts with 243, it's a 243G. So G, H, I, they have different provisions. Even the slightest change of word in the entire statement would confuse you. You can end up with the confusion. So make sure that you know what is what, which provisions, okay, which are the provisions. Now, Article 283, Clause 3, Section 3, Subsection B mandates the Central Finance Commission. I told you already, Article 280 is about Finance Commission. Right, Article 280 of the Finance Commission. So adralli sections, clause nodidaga, this particular clause make recommendations to the president to augment the consolidated fund of a state for supporting panchayats based on the recommendations of the State Finance Commission. Sorry, I just lost the network range. Give me a minute. I'll just reconnect. Okay, so as I was telling you, the thing is, I'm in Northeast now. As of now, here we have a lot of network trouble. If it is in the main city, it's a different thing. I'm just a little interior, so there can be dropping of network or this range trouble is there. Okay, even again, if I go out of the meeting, please do cooperate so I can again reach on. Fine. So where were we? We were talking about, I was just mentioning 243, 243, Article 243. So Article 243, everything regarding Panchayat Raj is mentioned in this only, except for finance. So wherein recommendations for supporting panchayats, all these are based on the State Finance Commission's recommendation. So Article 243 IAN. This mandates the formation of the State Finance Commissions every 5 years to review the financial status of PRI and advise the governor on principles regarding guiding the distribution of taxes, duties, tolls, and fees between the state and PRIs, as well as measures to enhance their financial position. So 243I ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪುನಃ it mandates the formation of the State Finance Commission once in 5 years. Every 5 years review ಮಾಡಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್, ಡ್ಯೂಟೀಸ್, ಟೋಲ್ಸ್, ಫೀಸ್ ಏನೇ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತ ಏನ್ ಮೆಷರ್ಸ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ರೆಕಮೆಂಡೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅದು 243I ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. Okay, then when we look into it, the main ministry, the apex body or the portfolio is Ministry of Panchayat Raj itself. Panchayati Raj another one separate ministry there for all this, for monitoring all these activities, which was established in May 2004, which sees the matters related to PRI, their effective functioning and financial well-being. So when we say it is at the grassroots level, when the Panchayat Raj system, or maybe when we say this local self-government works well, it actually reflects in the macro level. When things work out well in micro level, it reflects in macro level. That is what we see in this particular article. The article or the news is simply regarding the report and the statistics. I did not put up the graphs here because already it is in the article, it is mentioned clearly. And moreover, even if we display, I don't think so one can remember. As I told you, Andhra Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, 2 states are given in its own position that you can look into. For a better understanding, you can go through the article also. But for the exam perspective, you look into the static part of it. Always, I keep repeating, I say this, that is the need. Okay. Yes. So we move on to one more polity itself, motion of thanks. Motion of thanks is one of the terminology, or one of the popular terminology, or it an address, a special address that happens in the parliament, in the Rajya Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha. So basically, to have an awareness of this concept is required. Okay, and we connect this particular topic with the topic of president, because motion of thanks is given by president. It is a special president's address, or special address of the president, we can say. So what is it, and what is the news all about, and some key points we can look into. Okay, ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ motion of thanks ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಅಥವಾ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ motion of thanks? There are many terminologies in polity where we have to know about. And when it comes to motion of thanks, is one of the motion wherein we have censure motion. Very various, very minute terminologies. These are all micro topics. Okay. One have to know from the prelims perspective, these terminologies matter, and also for you to connect with the topic really well. That's why we look into it. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently responded to the motion of thanks on the President's address to the Parliament in the Rajya Sabha. Yavaga ee motion of thanks, yaake thanks ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ the President? What is the reason? Because it is about the performance of the government, or the outgoing government, or the term that is ended, the government, when upcoming election. It happens twice, basically. We will see that, those aspects. So when does it happen? What is the crux of motion of thanks? Who gives it? All these matters here. Okay. So the motion of thanks is a parliamentary protocol wherein a formal motion is proposed to convey gratitude or acknowledgement for the President's address to both houses of the Parliament. The President's address formulated by the government serves as a policy statement or outlining the governmental activities and accomplishment of the past year. That we see the entire what happened in the past year of this term of this government, and it is like a brief, what do you call as, review of the administration of the government that has completed its term. Now, here from the static perspective, what are the key points? If president address, requirement in Article 87 of the Constitution. For this also we have an article. Make a note of it. Motion of thanks provision yaudu constitutionally Article 87. Okay, so mandates president to address both the houses of the parliament, erdo houses address madi at the commencement of the each year's first session and after each general election, and also explaining reasons for parliament summons. It's like first session ಮತ್ತು after each general election ಆದ ನಂತರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಇದನ್ನ, commencement of first session ಮತ್ತು general election ಆದ ನಂತರ. So this presidential address is more relevant to Britain's speech from the throne. ನಾವು ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ನ ಬಾರೋ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ಸ್ ನ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಾರೋಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್. ನೀವು ಓದಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಲ್ವಾ ಇನ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ. ಸೊ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಬಾರೋಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್. ಈ ಮೋಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದಂತಂದ ನಾವು ಬ್ರಿಟನ್ ಇಂದ ಬಾರೋ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಥ್ರೋನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀದ ಬ್ರಿಟನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಅನ್ ಆನ್ಯುವಲ್ ಅಕರೆನ್ಸ್. ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಆಗುವಂತದ್ದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Okay, so motion of thanks here, it is the president address is discussed in both houses through motion of thanks, allowing for amendments to be proposed and accepted if applicable. ಇದನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆಯ್ತು ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು ಒಂದು ರಿವ್ಯೂ. ನಾವೇನು ಈಗ ಇಯರ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ರಿವ್ಯೂ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ, ವಾಟ್ ಆಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ತರ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಟರ್ಮ್ ಮುಗಿಯುವಾಗ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. So amendments procedure. Amendments can pertain to matters addressed in the speech or those not mentioned as deemed necessary by the members. Members will decide regarding the amendment. So conclusion of discussion. The discussion ends with Prime Minister's or another minister's reply, followed by the disposition of amendments and voting on motion of thanks. ಇದಕ್ಕೂ voting ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So ಇದು discussion end ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ Prime Minister reply ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. So ಆದ ನಂತರ ಅದ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಪಾಸೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೋಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ರೂಷಿಯಲ್. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಈ ಮೋಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಫೇಲ್ ಆದ್ರೆ, ಫೇಲಿಯರ್ ಟು ಪಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫೈಸ್ ಅ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಡಿಫೀಟ್. ಏನಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಈ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ ನಂತರ ವೋಟಿಂಗ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ಮೆಜಾರಿಟಿ. ಸೊ ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಅದು ಫೇಲ್ ಆದ್ರೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ಅ ಗ್ರೇಟ್, what do you call as, it did not perform so very well. It signifies the government's defeat, potentially indicating a lack of confidence in the government by the Lok Sabha. So lack of confidence andre enu ಒಂದು trust vote ತರ. So are we what do you call as, are we okay with, or do we acknowledge the contribution of this very government to the nation ಅಥವಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನೇ ಎಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುವಂತದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ or address in the both the house of the parliament, and why we should consider this from the exam perspective, because it has constitutional provision that is under Article 87 ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ. Okay, this is what we have under polity. ಇದು ಮೂರು. ಇನ್ನು ಈಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬಿಲ್ ಏನು ಈಗ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ, ನೆಗೋಷಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಯಾವ್ದು on exams, public exams. You might have come across, have you? It is still tabled as of now Lok Sabha ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ I have not brought it up yet. It is just a discussion that is happening. Once it is passed and after all the negotiations, maybe that can be important. Have you come across that? The bill on public examinations that has been negotiated in the house. Have you? Ilva? Hoda. Okay, anyway, if you have not, make sure that you just keep a tab on it also. Okay, so this I bring under art and culture, or culture basically, art and culture. So there was this in the recent scheme that was in news, that is Mera Gaon Meri Darohar. Darohar means heritage. Okay, so the government of India has opted to survey and record all villages as a part of Mera Gaon Meri Darohar program. Andre Gaon is village, Meri Darohar the heritage, my village and my heritage, my cultural aspects. That's what we are looking into. This program is about that. So we bring under art and culture, or this program is launched by, scheme is launched by Ministry of Culture. That's the reason. So this initiative aims to gather extensive data encompassing the livelihoods, historical background, cultural essence of Indian villages, accessible to both virtual and real-time visitors. ಸೊ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ವಿಲೇಜಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದರದ್ದು ಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ರಿಲೆವೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವಂತ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳಲ್ಲೇ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದು ಹೆರಿಟೇಜ್, ಈ ಹಳ್ಳಿ ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಫೇಮಸ್, ಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಕಲ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದನ್ನ ಮೋಟಿವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಪ್ರಮೋಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತದಕ್ಕೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಟೂರಿಸಂ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ನ ಪ್ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡೋಂತಕ್ಕಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನ ಲಾಂಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ as ಮೈ ವಿಲೇಜ್ ಮೈ ಹೆರಿಟೇಜ್ or ಮೈ ಕಲ್ಚರ್. Okay. So additionally, the Ministry of Culture administers the scheme of a financial assistance for promotion of art and culture, comprising 8 components. We will see those 8 components. Through this scheme, cultural organizations receive financial aid to foster the promotion of art and culture. For example, ಒಂದು ಹಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡಾನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಹಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್, ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ವೀವಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟಿಚಿಂಗ್, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್. ಓಕೆ, that is known for that, that village is known for that particular aspect ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂತ ಫಂಡ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ರಮೋಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ಸ್, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್, NGO ಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏಜೆನ್ಸೀಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದರ ಮೂಲಕ ಫಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ರಮೋಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಮೇರಾ ಗಾಂವ್ ಮೇರಿ ದಾರೋಹರ್. So some of the key points we'll look into. This program is on cultural mapping anta ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು. Cultural mapping ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ locating the places which are known for its cultural or heritage. So operates in collaboration with Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, IGNCA. ಇದು ಬೇರೆ branches ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ IGNCA. If I'm not wrong, we have it in Bangalore also. If you have seen in Nagarbabi, have you seen that center near that signal? It has its various branches. Okay, so adradu collaboration jote ee mapping nadita ide. A dedicated web portal for MGMD has been launched, aiming to compile comprehensive information about Indian villages, covering various aspects of life, history and cultural ethos, accessible both virtual and in real time. So when Ministry of Culture takes up this project, it provides or it gives project to various NGOs, many research scholars to collect information, and there are many people who are working about this. Maybe any especially when it comes to culture, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಲಿಟರೇಚರ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸರ್ವೆ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ಲಿಟರೇಚರ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್, literally field work matters. So a portal will be created for this. Under MGMD 7 main section ge classify ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So what kind of heritage we are talking about? Some villages are arts and crafts village. As I told you, Odisha-dalli esto villages, they are known for beautiful paintings on their houses. Outside the house you can see vibrant paintings. Such villages. Ecologically oriented village. In northeast, in Meghalaya, we have one village called as Molinong. Molinong is the Asia's cleanest village. No plastic waste, no waste is thrown every street, or it's a very small village where we have this dustbins kept. Those dustbins are also made up of bamboo. Ecologically oriented village. That is their culture, the Khasi culture. Likewise, just giving an example. Then scholastic village, Molinong anta nim kelirbodu, Asia's cleanest village anta kelidira. So scholastic village linked with textual and scriptural traditions of India. Esto villages, they are known for keep up this text, scriptures, traditions. Illi Karnatakadalli anta nodidaga Melkote. So there we have this Brahmanical sect wherein where they are working towards maintaining the scriptures and ancient Sanskrit texts and all that. There is one NGO also working there. Epic village linked with Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranic legends and oral epics. You can give me some examples. Can you give some examples? This has become like a monologue. You are not at all interacting. Okay, you can, if you remember, looking at the statements, if you remember any village's name you have seen in and around you, you can bring up. Then Hampi anta ಹೇಳಿದೆ, Hampi add ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ವಿಲೇಜಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಕಲ್ ವಿಲೇಜ್ ಲಿಂಕ್ ವಿತ್ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ. ಇವಾಗ ರಾಯಚೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಸ್ಕಿ ಇದೆ, ಮಸ್ಕಿ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಟು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ. ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್, ಯು ಟೋಟಲಿ ಸೈಲೆಂಟ್. ಆರ್ ಯು ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಮೈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರದು? I don't know whether you are replying on, yes, okay, on YouTube or something. I'm just focusing on. this Zoom as of now. Okay, so architectural heritage village, any other distinctive features such as fishing villages, horticulture villages, shepherding villages. One good example, again, I'll give it here. Fishing village, this one, agricultural aspects. Again, in Arunachal, we have, because I'm in Northeast, I'm just connecting that place now. In Arunachal, we have one place, a village called as Zero Valley, Zero Village, known for pisciculture. Pisciculture andre enu? Paddy with fishes or prawns or shrimps. Okay, so a terrace farming agirbodu. So all these are a part of a culture. So how about them? Many places, these villages are what do you call as slowly, by maybe migration or maybe changes that is happening, these cultures, this culture, this particular culture or traditional aspects are fading away. That is the reason this scheme has been implemented. Okay, MGMD forms part of the National Mission on Cultural Mapping. ಈ MGMD ಈ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಇದು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಮಿಷನ್ ಆನ್ ಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಪಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಮೇಜರ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್, ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಮಿಷನ್ ಆನ್ ಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಪಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು, ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಕಾಂಪೊನೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಜಾದಿ ಕಾ ಅಮೃತ್ ಮಹೋತ್ಸವ್. ಅದೇ 75th ಇಯರ್ ಅಮೃತ್ ಮಹೋತ್ಸವ್ 75th ಇಯರ್ ಅದ್ರ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇದು. ಯಾವುದು? ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಮಿಷನ್ ಆನ್ ಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್. ಅದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗೆ MGMD ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, as a part of MGMD, the cultural mapping of 6.5 lakh villages is underway, with over 2 lakh villages are already mapped and uploaded on the mission portal. So already map ಮಾಡಿ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ information collect ಮಾಡಿ portal ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ. So the thing is, the irony is, when the government does all these things, I mean, these are very peripheral, which actually doesn't get much of the limelight. But these are the very prominent aspects one should be proud of, right? These are the things. So one can actually visit the portal and can see what government is actually doing. Ministry of Culture, you can see various programs are there. Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Science and Tech, Department of Science and Tech. Only when you enter, only when you visit, you will get to know which are the various programs. Bari sumne visit ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೂ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ನೀವು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, authorized information, authentic information, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೂ, it is better to visit that ministry's website rather than any other website. That's what I suggest. Okay, yes. So this article was on PIB only, again, Press India Bureau. Okay, then we move on to the again governance only. One more scheme, Pradhan Mantri Matsya Kisan Samriddhi Sahayojana. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು ಯಾವುದು? ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಮಂತ್ರಿ ಮತ್ಸ್ಯ ಸಂಪದ ಯೋಜನಾ ಕೆಳಗೆ. ಕಿಸಾನ್, ಅಗೇನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಸೊ ಯಾಕೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಮಂತ್ರಿ ಮತ್ಸ್ಯ ಸಂಪದ ಯೋಜನಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಇನ್ ದ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ setting up of more aqua parks. I think last session I have told you, setting up of more aqua parks ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತು the concept of blue economy ಅಂತ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, that also matters here. And also beyond that, India is the second largest producer of fish after China. Okay, exporter and producer, I believe. So our coastal communities are dependent on this, and fishing is one of the major activity in India, because we have this 7,516.6 square kilometers of coastline in India, where we have coastal communities thriving, wherein their livelihood is dependent on this fishing activity. That's why such a scheme is brought in. Okay, so we'll see. Recently, the Union Cabinet approved the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Kisan Samriddhi Sahayojana, a sub-scheme under Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. ನೀವು ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಮಂತ್ರಿ ಮತ್ಸ್ಯ ಸಂಪದ ಯೋಜನಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಇದು ಒಂದು sub-scheme ಅಷ್ಟೇ. So it will be implemented as central sector sub-scheme under a central sector component of the same scheme. A time period will be for 4 years, from this financial 2023-24 year to 26-27. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇದು ಯಾರಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ಗೆ, ಯಾರಿಗೆ? ಆಕ್ವಾಕಲ್ಚರಿಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ. ಏನಂತ ಆಕ್ವಾಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಫಿಶರ್ ಫೋಕ್, fish aquaculture farmers, fish workers, fish vendors, and any such other person directly engaged in fisheries value chain. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕನು ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಮಂತ್ರಿ ಮತ್ಸ್ಯ ಸಂಪದ ಯೋಜನಾ was focusing on fishing activities basically, and to improve the blue economy or promote blue economy. Blue economy ಅಂದ್ರೆ coastal community economy, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಆಗುವಂತ ರೆವೆನ್ಯೂ, ಸಿಗುವಂತ ರೆವೆನ್ಯೂ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಆದ್ರೆ the stakeholders who are responsible to bring this revenue were not looked upon. ಈಗ they have been added as a sub scheme. ಅವ್ರಿಗೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ಇದು exclusively. So these are the beneficiaries. ಇದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು these are the main beneficiaries. ಇದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು there are medium and small scale enterprises. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು cooperative societies, ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಫಿಶಿಂಗ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಗಳಿಗೆ ಯಾರೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೋ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಬೆನಿಫಿಷರಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. But main are these people. Okay, it is not only this much. We have more than this. Anybody and everybody who are part of fishing sector. Okay, so this is about the scheme, just to know, because one thing is these schemes you can use as an example in your mains answer writing. ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಬ್ಲೂ ಎಕಾನಮಿ ಕೇಳಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಫಿಶಿಂಗ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿರೋದಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕೋಸ್ಟಲ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟೀಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿರೋದಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ನೀವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬಹುದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಮಂತ್ರಿ ಮತ್ಸ್ಯ ಸಂಪದ ಯೋಜನಾ ಅಂತ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ the main scheme, so it harnesses fisheries potential. Is only for your what do you call as reference. When you receive the notes you can go through it. Enhancing of fish production and productivity, modernizing and strengthening the value chain, doubling fishers and fish farmers income, right? Enhancing contribution to agriculture, GVA and exports, social, physical and economic security, robust fisheries management and regulatory framework. So ಯಾಕೆ ಈಗ ಏನಂತಾರೆ fish farmers income ಡಬಲ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾಕೆ ನಾವು ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, why have we taken up this project in the first place? Fish is abundant. Fisher folk, when they go to catch fish or maybe cast their net, they'll get abundant fish, and they are making, obviously in the coastal communities, or there is a high demand for fish anyway. Adre, because of why this aid or help for this fisher folk is required, there is a background or there's a reason for it. When we see this global warming, the concept of global warming or climate change, that is actually impacting marine environment also. Apart from that, pollution, oil spillage, or maybe excess of carbon dioxide, changing in ocean temperature, all these are actually impacting fish stock. So the breeding, what do you call as other the related agirbodu, athwa decline in population of a particular variety or breed of fish agirbodu, athwa moving away from the fishing zones agirbodu. Yake antandre maybe in ecology we have discussed this, I have mentioned this. We have something called as dead zones. Dead zones or hypoxic zone. Okay, HY, I don't know which all batches we have here, or at least few batches, 2 batches I have mentioned this. HYPOXIC, hypoxic zone. So hypoxic zone anta andre, because of excess nutrients ಅಥವಾ excess pollution ಇಂದ biological oxygen demand ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ microbial activity in the excess decomposition in the, hope you know the concept of eutrophication and all that. Now this is not the right platform to totally go back to the basics, but I'll just give you the terms. Okay, eutrophication, then excess nutrients in the water, algal bloom, because of excess algal bloom, excess decomposition and excess respiration, that would lead to excess carbon dioxide, and they are in need of more oxygen. So biological oxygen demand ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವ್ದ್ರದ presence ಇಂದ, microorganisms ಇಂದ. So ಇದ್ರದೇ presence ಓವರ್ ಪವರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಅದು ಉಳಿದಿರುವಂತ aquatic organisms ಮೇಲೆ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So they either die there, the other fishes, because they are blocking the sunlight and also taking up excess oxygen from the water, or they need more. So ಉಳಿದಿರುವಂತ aquatic organisms ಗೆ ಸಾಲೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So ಒಂದು they die, or else they move away from the particular zone. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇದೇ ನಾವು ಪಾಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಓಕೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್, ಬಟ್ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಓಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ಫಿಶಿಂಗ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಈಸ್ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಕೋಸ್ಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನಿ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಅಥವಾ ಓಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಲೂಸಿವ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಝೋನ್. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಲೂಸಿವ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಝೋನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಆನ್ ದಿ ಓಷನ್, ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಕೋಸ್ಟ್ ಲೈನ್, ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಬೇಸ್, ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಶೋರ್ ಅಪ್ ಟು 12 nautical miles, ಇದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಲೂಸಿವ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಝೋನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಇದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ರೀತಿಯ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಆ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸಲ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನೀವು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸೊ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಫಿಶರ್ ಫೋಕ್ ಆರ್ ಅರೆಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಶ್ರೀಲಂಕಾ, or Sri Lankan fisher folk have entered Indian waters ಯಾತಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ they enter into beyond their zone? What could be the possibility? Maybe sometimes security reasons ಅದರಿಂದನೂ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. But most of the times these fisher folk are just common people who go beyond in search of fish, wherein they are no longer available in the fishing areas because they might have migrate because of excess of pollution. ಈ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಝೋನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಮೈಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಇಲ್ಲದೇನೂ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಆಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವಿತೌಟ್ ದ ನಾಲೆಜ್ ದೇ ಮೈಟ್ ಈವನ್ ಗೋ ಬಿಯಾಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್ ದ ಫಿಶ್. ಈಗ ಇನ್ನು ನಾವ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ದಿನಗಳು ಟೈಮ್ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಿಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್ ಬಿಯಾಂಡ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಫೇಸ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಸಿಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಸ್. ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳು ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸಲ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಫಿಶರ್ ಫೋಕ್, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ನೆವರ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಡ್ ಹೋಮ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ they have their own struggles and difficulties. That is the reason this scheme has been implemented. Okay, ಈ ಸಬ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಏನನ್ನೋದು ಈ ಫಿಶರ್ ಫೋಕ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ಫಿಶಿಂಗ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಡಬಲಿಂಗ್ ದ ಇನ್ಕಮ್, ಇಂತ ಒಂದು ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏಡ್ ಅಥವಾ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಡಬಲಿಂಗ್ ದ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಬೆನಿಫಿಷರೀಸ್. Okay, so hope you got the idea. It is not only about the scheme, we have to look into why such a scheme, ಯಾತಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ. ಸುಮ್ನೆ ನಾವು UPSC ಆಸ್ಪಿರೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡೋಣ ಅಲ್ಲ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ನೋ ಅಬೌಟ್ what you call as why, what is the precursor, what is the need, because in future you are entering into government and you are the bureaucrat and you are the one will in the backdrop with the policy making. First thing you should know what is the need of such program, alva? So this is it. Then this is just for your understanding. Blue economy andre enu? What does blue economy comprises of? Ella ರೀತಿಯಾದ blue economy andre economy from coastal region, wherein it provides for idellanu barutte smart shipping to lessen the impacts on the environment, inclusive and improves the lives of all who are living there, based on sustainable fisheries. Sustainable fisheries andre breeding season alli hogi fishing hogodalla. So there are seasons wherein fishing activity is banned, fishing is allowed. All this has to be looked into. Harnesses renewable energy, tidal energy we are talking about here. Takes action against illegal fishing. Just now I mentioned illegal fishing ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ illegal fishing practices ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥದ್ದು. tackle marine litter and ocean pollution. Today blue economy andre it is a very huge concept, because blue flag certification beaches ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಬೀಚಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ಲೂ ಎಕಾನಮಿನೇ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಬೀಚಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ ಟೂರಿಸಂ or maybe health of the ecosystem also comes under that. Then blue economy also focuses on protecting coastal communities from the impacts of climate change. One thing I've mentioned just as an example, creates jobs and reduces poverty and hence ends hunger, conserves marine life and oceans. So it is a vast idea. Okay, yake blue economy? Why blue economy again? Because we have witnessed blue revolution in India. That is also there. So all these are the things. Okay, the scheme, this is the what do you call as horizons. You have to broaden the horizons of thinking to understand this topic. So moving on, governance or economy, we can say governance and economy. UPI is part and parcel of our life, right? Recently UPI gets global launch at Eiffel Tower in France. So National Payment Corporation of India, this is the authorized organization. So it has tied up with French e-commerce and proximity payments Lyra ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಇದು ಯಾವುದು French payment mechanism, which will help ensure that the UPI payment mechanism is accepted in France, starting with the Eiffel Tower. Yakandre Indians are like, what do you call us, we have people, Indians living abroad, especially France is also one of the countries wherein in order to this UPI to go global, this is a very what do you call as major thing or a major aspect for India when it comes to tying up the payment mechanism with some foreign country wherein it is accessible there also. So it's a big news basically. And the question on unified payments interface and its mechanism ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ basic questions. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ದು basic awareness ಏನಿದೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ day to day ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೇ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ You should be knowing about it. Now, mostly overlooked concept ane kelirtare esto sala. One good example I'll tell you. Maybe few years back, to 5-6 years back, there was a question on VOLTE. If you check your phone, you'll be having that symbol VOLTE. Another VOLTE, another ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಓವರ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಎವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್. ನಿಮ್ ಫೋನ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವಲ್ಲಿ VOLT ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಸಿಂಬಲ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀರಾ ಆನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಟಾಪ್ ರೈಟ್. ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಆನ್ ದಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್, ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಓವರ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಎವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ನಾವು ಡೇ ಟು ಡೇ ಆ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಸೊ ಡೇ ಟು ಡೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ವಿಷಯಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ UPSC ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತು questions have been asked. That's the reason I've just taken up this, so that UPI, as I told you, it has become part and parcel of our life. So it was officially unveiled. This UPI was officially unveiled during India's Republic Day festivities at the iconic Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. This event signifies a significant step in globalizing UPI and fostering digital payments. UPI, developed by NPCI in the year 2016, integrates multiple bank accounts into a single mobile app for seamless transactions. We use it today. A partnership between NPCI International Payment and France Lyra Collect will introduce UPI in France and Europe. So we need a collaboration. So this is the collaboration. So NPCI is collaborating with Lyra Collect, where we can access UPI in France. So this is just a gist of it, or maybe just you can look into it. Which are the countries which over a period of time have been accepting UPI? Or if you are in future, if you plan to visit these countries, you can without any hassle, you can use UPI also. So you can see it all started soon. 2016 we introduced Bhutan, Malaysia, Singapore, and Southeast Asian nations, UAE, Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Switzerland, United Kingdom also, France now, okay, UAE, Nepal, and Oman, UAE, again London, Sri Lanka. So all adoption that happened. Adoption ಅವಾಗ ಆಯ್ತು, ಈಗ ಲಾಂಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಲಾಂಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ? ಫ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಪ್ಯಾರಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಲೈರಾ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಓವರ್ ಅ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನಿಂಗ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ what do you call as big landmark or a milestone for India's payment mechanism. Okay, or digital India, what we call this comes under the concept of digital India. So that is also there. Then we speak about freshwater turtles, or actually the news is regarding, maybe we can see this news in different way. Gomti river ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ಟರ್ಟಲ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಎರಡು ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಐ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಇಟ್ as environment. Okay, so yes. So forest officials had rescued 679 turtles and were released into Gomti River recently. Turtles, when we say this, we are talking about freshwater turtles. In India, we have at least 22 freshwater turtle species. Among them, Assam has the highest. Okay, Assam at least 20 turtles, 19-20 turtles, freshwater turtles we have in Assam only. In the first raid, I'm just reading out the report of the news. 309 turtles were rescued. Among them, 293 were Indian tent turtle and 16 were Indian roofed turtle. Idella names, idella hesru, freshwater turtles to hesru. Turtles are classified into marine turtles and freshwater turtles. Turtles ಎರಡು ತರ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, freshwater turtles and marine turtles, wherein mostly freshwater turtles are more threatened because in their size and because of their habitat loss, pollution, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ threatened. ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, because of their size, they are used as pet trade. In some areas, some regions, they consumption and witchcraft go use ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Okay, so all these are the what do you call it, black magic, whatever. So all these are the threats to the turtles already. And recently you can see the number, 600 odd turtles were captured. I mean, they were held in captivity, and it was rescued. Rescued ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ maybe some poachers or illegal pet trade that was happening. So they were arrested. So since male turtles do not grow in fast size, they are much in demand as pets. So ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಟರ್ಟಲ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಟರ್ಟಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಬೇಗ ಅದು ಬೆಳೆಯಲ್ಲ. ಬೆಳೆದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪೆಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ನೀವು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಟರ್ಟಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕೀಪ್ ಆನ್ ಚೇಂಜಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ಅಕ್ವೇರಿಯಂ. ಸೈಜ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅಕ್ವೇರಿಯಂ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. Female turtles, they can reproduce quickly. If at all there is one more male turtle, of course, then they grow in size, they are bigger in size. So ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಮೇಲ್ ಟರ್ಟಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಪೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೆಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ this operation was conducted and they were released. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ first we will look into turtle ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ನಂತರ we will speak about the Gomti river. Okay. So Indian ಎರಡು turtle mention ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So I'm just taking up these two. But you can also look into some of the other names also. Freshwater turtles ಹೆಸರು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. Indian tent turtle, IUCN is least concerned. So this species is endemic to India and Bangladesh. Why it is called as tent turtle anta andre adradu shell ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ so it looks like a roof ಅಥವಾ tent ಹಾಕಿರೋ ತರ. That's why it is tent turtle. That's all. Nothing much. It is very tiny. It prefers preferred habitats are freshwater rivers and swamps. It is native to India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. Okay, endemic to these places. So this is what for with Indian tent turtle. One the turtle ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟು information ಇದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು usually. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ turtles ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಟರ್ಟಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಟರ್ಟಲ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. It depends upon the population. ಒಂದೊಂದು turtles, they are actually critically endangered. Some are extinct in the wild also. Some are found only in temple ponds. So they have their IUCN different. IUCN you might be knowing. International Union for Conservation of Nature, where we categorize it. So ಇದು least concerned ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ we have enough in numbers. Imagine 600 turtles were under captivity ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೆಷ್ಟು turtles ಇರಬಹುದು ಅಂತ. But still they are under threat like this. And one more is Indian roof turtle. That is also because of the roof structure it has. It is found in the major rivers of South Asian countries, Ganga, Brahmaputra, Indus River also. So it is widespread again. This is also least concern. So they catch these turtles and use it for pet trade. Okay. Some of the other turtle names, if you want to write down, that very important, which we see in news also. You can, apart from these two, you can write Indian peacock soft shell turtle. The shell actually, it is not actually soft, but it like very what do you call as a smooth surface. We can see it looks like it has a very smooth surface. That is what is called as soft shell. Indian, what did I say? Indian peacock soft shell turtle. And we have black soft shell turtle. Then red crowned roof turtle. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Even apart from this, we can see other also. One more is Indian red crowned roof turtle. These are some of the turtle species, freshwater turtle species. You have to keep a tab on. Marine turtles anta bandaga, most popular in India is olive ridley. You might have heard, right? Maybe in the static part of the ecology class, you'll be learning project turtle and all that. But turtle another one the important area. They were asking for a couple of times turtles ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ they have stopped it, but again it might resurface. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ one more thing is just to remind you, Indian red crowned roof turtle has been added to CITES convention ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು. CITES CITES convention appendix 1 ನಲ್ಲಿ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಇಂಡಿಯಾ has had proposed convention add ಮಾಡಿದೆ appendix 1 ನಲ್ಲಿ. CITES appendix 1. Okay. So CITES is a convention which speaks about international trade, right? And these are also under CITES appendix 1 only. Okay, appendix 1 recent agi add ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತ turtle species, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ. Okay, yes. Regarding river, ಯಾವ river ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತಲ್ವಾ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So it was river Gomti. River Gomti ಬಗ್ಗೆ you can see the map here. Especially this map actually caught my eye because so far we see when we India map anta andaga full Kashmir full ಕಾಣಿಸ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. but this I found somewhere in Britannica website. So I thought I'd just share this with you. See how it is mentioned. So it is like, anyway, I'll come back to Gomati River. You can see part A, it is administered by Pakistan. Administered by Pakistan, claimed by India. B, administered by India itself, this part, because when we draw a map, we include that head part of India also, right? Then administered by China, claimed by India. C, ಇದು ಯಾವುದು ಇದು ಅಕ್ಸೈ ಚಿನ್ ರೀಜನ್ ಇದು. ಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ, administered by India, claimed by China. ಯಾವುದು ಅರುಣಾಚಲ್. So when we draw map, we include that also. For us, Kashmir, Aksai Chin, ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ, ಅದು ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅಂತ. So maybe Pakistan, it would draw a different map altogether in their own country. China would draw a different. China, it is like it might come to even till Uttar Pradesh also, if they are allowed. Anyway, so they draw a different map likewise, right? So this caught my eye, so that I'll share with you. Anyway, we'll focus on Gomati River. Gomati River, you can specifically see this flows in Uttar Pradesh. Okay, Uttar Pradesh arises from Gomat Tal, also called as Fulhar Jheel, near Tanda in Uttar Pradesh. Gomati River elli flow agutte Uttar Pradesh anta gottidre saku. So it flows southward through districts including Sitapur, Lucknow, Sultanpur, Jaunpur, ella Uttar Pradesh alle. Okay, and before joining Ganga River near Varanasi. Varanasi alli Gomati River Ganga jote join agutte. Major cities, all these Lucknow, Jaunpur, Sultanpur, illela nodbodu. Tributaries of this is Kathina, Bainsi, Sarayan, Gone. Maybe you have not heard of this. These are not very popular tributaries, but as it joins river Ganga and it is in news now, and you also can locate, or what do you call it, connect that these turtles are also found in this area, these rivers. So that's why we are using this, okay, knowing this. So the significance of the river is they sustain community, ecosystem, economies, symbolizing intrinsic link between water resources and human well-being. So ishtu river Gomti ಬಗ್ಗೆ mapping also ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ತರ ಪ್ರದೇಶಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ. So this is the takeaway from the news. Turtle ಮತ್ತು river ಬಗ್ಗೆ. Okay, so this is what we have in this topic. Before we move on to the next one, we'll take a break for 5 minutes, then I'll continue. Okay. We shall continue. Okay, so next topic is Nagoya Protocol. The news is regarding Cameroon adopts Nagoya Protocol to benefit from its rich biodiversity. So this is one of the protocols which speaks about biodiversity, conservation of biodiversity. And Cameroon is in news, the African country. So in order to understand what is Nagoya Protocol, those who have already attended the static part of the class, you will be having an idea. The convention ide, Convention on Biological Diversity anta ಒಂದು convention ಇದೆ. So ಅದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುವಂತ protocol ಇದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅದು ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ನ್ಯೂಸ್. ಆದ್ರೆ why should we look into it? Because basically India also India has adopted Nagoya Protocol. That is the reason. And because we have adopted, because we have ratified CBD also, ratification means we sign a convention, we acknowledge it, and also we implement at the national level. Adike navu ratification anta karitivi. So Convention on Biological Diversity anta ಒಂದು convention ಇದೆ, which was brought forward in 1993. ಈ Rio Earth Summit ಕೆಳಗೆ one of the documents ಅದು. So when I say like this randomly, you might not understand, because most of the basic parts I'm just briefing it out, because it will be repetition in the static class also. That's the reason. But when you hear these words, I'm just telling you where you have to actually connect. Okay. So ಈ Nagoya Protocol ಅನ್ನೋದು one of the protocols. Protocol ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Set of rules. Okay. The name Nagoya is from the village in Japan where it was signed there. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ Nagoya Protocol ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. Let's look into the news first, then I'll give you a brief idea about it. Okay. So Cameroon recently adopted the Nagoya Protocol on access and benefit sharing. ಈ protocol ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ access and benefit sharing. That also I'll explain. The Nagoya Protocol is an Cameroon country ಹೆಸರು. Cameroon African country ಹೆಸರು. ಅದು okay, good that you ask. If you don't ask me question, I'll never know what you're understanding. Okay. ಈ country ಈ protocol ನ adopt ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಯಾಕೆ adopt ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ country this country is very rich in biodiversity, flora and fauna. That's the reason. Okay, I'll read it for you. First one, these things. Offshoot of the Convention on Biological Diversity that addresses fair and equitable benefit sharing in the context of the biodiversity access. Okay. Cameroon is a biodiversity hotspot with an estimated 11,000 plant, animal, microorganism species. Is to take away from the article. E article down to earth lit. So ಯಾಕೆ ಅದೊಂದು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಕಂಟ್ರಿ Nagoya Protocol ನ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ why it is a news? That's the question now. Now let me brief it out for you. Okay. So CBD, Convention on Biological Diversity ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್. ಲೈಕ್ ಈಗ ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಹೋಮ್ ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್, ಪ್ಯಾರಿಸ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ. CBD ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್. ಓಕೆ. ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ಒಂದು ಸಮ್ಮಿಟ್. ರಿಯೋ 1992 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸಮ್ಮಿಟ್ ನಡೀತು, ರಿಯೋ ಅರ್ತ್ ಸಮ್ಮಿಟ್ ಅಂತ. ಅದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗೆ one of the documents, 5 documents ittu. I'm not speaking about the rest 4. One of the documents were called as pay attention and understand this, CBD anta one document, a document which came to be known as the convention itself. So a Convention on Biological Diversity andre enu? Biodiversity andre gottu, variety of life forms. This convention speaks about conservation of the species. First point is conservation of the species. Second point is we speak about biosafety. I'll explain what is biosafety. And the third is this or what we call as access and benefit sharing anta. I'll brief it out. So first objective hegidru conservation ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಈ ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್ ಈ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಒಂದು, ಕನ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಬಯೋಸೇಫ್ಟಿ. ಬಯೋಸೇಫ್ಟಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ when we take up on species, maybe genetically modified organisms ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, maybe crops or animals, when we are experimenting on them, then we have to take all precautionary measures. That is the rule under CBD. ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೂ it should not affect, we should do it sustainably, it should not affect the surviving organisms ಅನ್ನೋದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇರೆನೆ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದರ ಹೆಸರು ಕಾರ್ಟಜೀನಾ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ಅಂತ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕಾರ್ಟಜೀನಾ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ಅಂತ. I don't know how much you'll understand through this, but I'm just mentioning the words. Cartagena ಅನ್ನೋದು, Cartagena is the capital of Colombia. So Cartagena protocol. Third objective ಏನು CBD ದು, ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆನ್ ಬಯಾಲಜಿ, ಈ ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್ ದು ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ. ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ biodiversity, nature is not anybody's property. Nature is everybody's property. But depending upon the region, depending upon the culture, depending upon the tradition, or maybe the accessibility, we all are in one or the other way dependent on nature. Right? One or the other way we are dependent on nature. So when mostly now indirect dependent agirtivi, who are not living in the forest, but forest people who are living with a connection, who are connected to nature, they are directly dependent on nature, maybe to collect honey, maybe to collect maybe bamboo or wax or anything that their livelihood is dependent on. So Iga, let me ask you this. So for a company who is manufacturing a honey, Iga Dabur honey, Lion honey, esto honey, ಬೇರೆ ಬ್ರಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ವಾ, where do they get this access from? ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ? ಯಾರು ಹೋಗಿ ಈ ಹನಿನ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಸಾಧ್ಯ? Will the manufacturers go, employees go, people who are working? Yes, tribes, right? So first ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಹನಿ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್? ಮೇಬಿ ನೌ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎಪಿಕಲ್ಚರ್, ಬೀ ಕೀಪಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ, ಬಟ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಹನಿ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಹೌ ದ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಕ್ಲೇಮ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಯಾವ ಹನಿನೂ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಅಡಲ್ಟ್ರೇಟೆಡ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ. So that was the recent data also. If unless you get it from the forest directly, athwa you keep beekeeping idre maatra, or else mostly they are adulterated. The brands I'm talking about, which was a survey done by one of the organizations. Anyway, so we go, I mean the tribes collect honey and they sell it to maybe market or cooperative society or maybe the organizations, and then it go to wholesalers, retailers, brand owners, it goes on like that. So ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರೈಬ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರರ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಬ್ರಾಂಡ್ ಓನರ್ಸ್ ತನಕ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಪಾರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಆರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಆರ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆನ್ ದಿ ನೇಚರ್. ಈಗ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋರು ಯಾರು, ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದು ಯಾರಿಗೆ, ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋರು ಯಾರು, ಅಂಡ್ ಹೂ ಮೇಕ್ಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಟ್ರೈಬ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರರ್ಸ್, ಬ್ರಾಂಡ್ ಓನರ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ಬ್ರಾಂಡ್ ಓನರ್ಸ್. So no. So your brand owners, I'll come to this news, but I'm just giving you an idea about Nagoya protocol and access and benefit sharing. So brand owners kenta bandaga, they will anyway make profit. Tribes are not protesting against it. But certain times esto sala enagutte antandre, these brand owners or manufacturers would deny payment to them, would deny share to them. So benefit sharing anta bandaga adu fair and equitable agirbeku. It should be fair and equitable. If it is not fair and equitable, then it comes under the scanner of Nagoya protocol. Nagoya protocol ಏನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ? Anybody who are accessing the benefits from the biodiversity, from nature, when you are accessing it, share the benefits equally. Getting the idea? That is the concept of Nagoya protocol. ಈ Nagoya protocol ಅನ್ನ ಒಂದು ರೂಲ್ ನ, ಸೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. India not only has followed, but it also has implemented in India. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ? ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ತಂದಿದೆ. ಯಾವುದು? ಬಯೋಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಆಕ್ಟ್. ಬಯೋಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ 2002. ಈಗ ಅದು ಅಮೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬಯೋಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ 2023 ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ವಿ ಡೂ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಲೆಜಿಸ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ that is our implementation. Did you understand? Like this, many countries have adopted. Cameroon is one among them. Hope you got the idea. ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಟು ಮೇಕ್, ಸಿ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ಇನ್ ದ ಇಮೇಜ್ ವೆರ್ ಇನ್ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ದೇ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್, ಬಟ್ ದೇ ಶುಡ್ ಗೆಟ್ ದ ಇಕ್ವಿಟೇಬಲ್ ಶೇರ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಐಡಿಯಾ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಈ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸಲ ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸಲ್ ಆರ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ misrepresentation or maybe denying the share to them, fair share to them will happen. That's the reason Nagoya protocol matters. Did you get the point? Can you please acknowledge? Hope you got some idea about Nagoya protocol. Yes. In detail, you'll learn in the class. So, idu whatever I told you, same thing. So Nagoya Protocol and access to genetic resources and the feed and entire thing. It is a legally binding global agreement that implements the access and benefit sharing obligations of the Convention of Biological Diversity. What I said only in a very technical, detailed manner. It was adopted by the CBD in Nagoya in 2010 and entered into force in 2014. So 2014 ಅಲ್ಲಿ enter ಆಯ್ತು. But and one more thing I'll tell you. ಯಾಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಗೋಯಾ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಐಚಿ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ತರ್ತಾರೆ. ಐಚಿ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ಸ್, you might have heard, this has also been asked in prelims. 20 targets, okay, 20 targets were there, but what happened was 2014 in the 2020 tanka 2020 na target year agi ittidru, but none of the countries could complete the target. Adikoskara, in the place of this, now we have Kunming Montreal Biodiversity Framework anta replace agide. Kunming Montreal Biodiversity Framework ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಐಚಿ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ನಗೋಯಾ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಇತ್ತು. ನಗೋಯಾ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಐಚಿ ಅಗೇನ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಐಚಿ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ವಿಲೇಜ್ ಇನ್ ಜಪಾನ್. ಅಗೇನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಈ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ನ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ನನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ, only few countries, India also could achieve few targets, that's all. So recently in the year 2021-22 Kunming Montreal Protocol and Kunming Montreal Biodiversity Framework anta tartare in the place of ಐಚಿ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ಸ್. ಇದೇನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಹೆಸರು ಸೇಮ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವೀಗ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಪರ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಇಂದ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನಿದೆ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಓಕೆ, so just keep this word in your mind, Kunming Montreal Biodiversity Framework. Okay, it makes more sense when you learn in class. As of now, news is Cameroon adopted Nagoya Protocol. Those who have already learned it, you might get the point. Okay, clear with this? So idu news. Now exam ge ee biological diversity amendment act adana connect ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬೇಕು. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು Kunming Montreal Biodiversity Framework. These are the two latest part in this particular concept. Okay, maybe you can also locate Cameroon on your atlas mapping ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು Cameroon ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಲೊಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. That can also be asked. Mapping I have not added here. Can we get direct forest product from Trifed or any other company? Yes, Trifed, very good. Trifed is like a cooperative market. Iga namge APMC ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ Trifed ಅನ್ನು. So Trifed ಮೂಲಕನು we can purchase, or any other company also. Trifed ಒಂದು it is like a, what do you call, a connector to the consumer or the tribe to the scheduled tribe or the forest people to the market. Trifed ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು. So it is possible. Okay, it is like a cooperative. And see, good that you asked. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ MSP ಇದೆಯಲ್ವಾ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್ ಗೆ, ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ MFP ಗುನು, MFP ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಮೈನರ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಈಗ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು NTFP ಅಂತಾನು ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ನಾನ್ ಟಿಂಬರ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್. ಹನಿ, ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್, leaves, tendu leaves, gum, bamboo canes, flowers, medicinal purpose, or nuts, or anything that they collect from the forest. These comprises of non-timber forest produce. Non-timber forest produce. So this can be, what do you call as, sold at the MSP rate. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇದೆ, MSP for MFP ಅಂತ, ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಗೆ. ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫುಡ್ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್, ಇದಕ್ಕೂ MSP ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಕಮಾಡಿಟೀಸ್ಗೆ, ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ MSP ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಟ್ರೈಬ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸೆಲ್ ದಟ್ ಇನ್ Trifed. Trifed is a main connector. Hope you got the point. Okay, now next word is Humboldt's enigma ಅಂತ. Humboldt's enigma, ಈ ವರ್ಡ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು. Maybe you might have come across this recently. Okay, we will see. I have left out in this, maybe not very recently, it was there in the news and we have seen. I think I thought I have missed out this, so I'm bringing up again here. Okay, we will see what is it. Humboldt's enigma unknown the concept. In recent times, the article says there has been growing interest in Humboldt's enigma within the field of ecology as researchers endeavor to comprehend the surprising biodiversity observed in mountain ecosystems, which challenges conventional assumption. ಈ ಹಂಬೋಲ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಬರೋದಂದ್ರೆ ಹಂಬೋಲ್ಟ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್, ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕಲಿ ಹಂಬೋಲ್ಟ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಆರ್ ಅಟ್ಲಾಂಟಿಕ್, ಹಂಬೋಲ್ಟ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್, ಓಷನ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಏನಿದು ಹಂಬೋಲ್ಟ್ ಎನಿಗ್ಮಾ? ಎನಿಗ್ಮಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ? ಸೊ ಈ ಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಟ್ರಾಪಿಕಲ್ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್ ನಿಯರ್ ದ ಈಕ್ವೇಟರ್ ರಿಸೀವ್ಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಸನ್ಲೈಟ್. ಹಂಗಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಕ್ವೇಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಟ್ರಾಪಿಕಲ್ ರೀಜನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಇಕ್ವಟೋರಿಯಲ್ ರೀಜನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬಯೋಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಕಡೆ ಮೌಂಟೇನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬಯೋಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಇದೆ ವೆನ್ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಟು ದ ಟ್ರಾಪಿಕಲ್ ರೀಜನ್ಸ್. ಇದು ದ ವೆರಿ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ರಿಚ್ನೆಸ್ ಇನ್ ಟ್ರಾಪಿಕಲ್ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂತ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ನ ಡಿಫೈ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, or it negate the rule of this particular idea. We know this concept called as tropical areas alli species diversity ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. As we move away from the equator toward poles, what happens is the species diversity decreases. But how come certain mountains have the maximum biodiversity? ಈ ಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಗೆ, ಈ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಗೆ Humboldt enigma ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. What if they give in the news and say Humboldt's enigma was recently seen in news? It refers to what? Okay, what is it related to? Ecology, not some other science or science, maybe space or something like that. We will see the origin of it. So the key points regarding Humboldt's enigma, ಈ concept ತಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Inspired by Alexander von Humboldt's observations, Humboldt's enigma challenges the conventional belief that tropical regions with abundant sunlight are the primary hubs of Earth's biodiversity. That is what the belief is. But Humboldt enigma ಅನ್ನೋದು ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. We see more biodiversity on the mountains ಅಂತ. That is the concept here. Okay, so mountain ecosystem why do they define notions? So despite receiving less sunlight, mountain alli sunlight kammi, altitude ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಂದಾಗ we know that when altitude increases temperature drops, right? So enduring colder temperature, very cold temperature, because temperature altitude increases, temperature drops. Mountain ecosystem showcase remarkable biodiversity, opposing traditional ecological theories and prompting further investigation into this phenomenon. Esto mountains alli altitude ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದು ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇದ್ರೂನು specific certain mountain region we have very good or rich biodiversity. ಅದು ಹೇಗೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ? ಸೊ observations ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಟರ್ಮಿನಾಲಜಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ his insights were ಯಾತಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಇದಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ correlation between temperature, altitude, humidity, species occurrence pattern or biodiversity, wherein one example is given: Ecuador's Chimborazo mountain, now a significant symbol of mountain diversity. Ella mountains alla ondond mountains alli rich diversity ide. One very good example is Shola. Here in this picture, in this article, they are showing the Shola Islands only, Shola Sky Islands. Okay, so Western Ghats is known for obviously rich biodiversity. So the takeaway from this news is, what is Humboldt's enigma? What is the concept? What is it related to? Enigma is mystery. It is questioning the very popular belief that tropical regions are rich in biodiversity. How? I mean, why not in mountains? Why how come certain mountainous regions are rich in biodiversity? That is the idea. Okay, so this is just a depiction for you, wherein it shows in the tropical regions, in the equatorial regions, it is known for rich biodiversity. In South American Amazon, Central African forest, okay, Himalayan region, Western Ghats, China, Myanmar, so in Indonesia, right, Southeast Asia. These are the regions we can see species richness which are really high. And here also the regions where we can say we have mountain peaks. So what makes it possible in some mountains? So idu observations ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. But the topic asks, yeah, very good, maybe due to climate changes also, that is also one of the good reason. What does it mean for India? ಈ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾಗೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ we will see that in with few key points. ಯಾಕೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಒಂದು ಎನಿಗ್ಮಾ ಅಥವಾ ಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು ಅಂತ. India boasts diverse mountain ranges, notably the Himalayas, particularly the eastern Himalayas, providing an ideal setting to explore Humboldt's enigma. Eastern Himalayas anta andaga, we have this Arunachal, Sikkim, Nagaland, and it extends to Myanmar also. So India has 4 biodiversity hotspot anta enanta karitivi. Eastern Himalaya is one of the biodiversity hotspot. Hotspot andre enu? Earth's biologically richest and equally threatened. Hotspot antandre it has two extremes, positive ಮತ್ತು negative. Hotspot ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ positive ಏನು? Rich in biodiversity. What is negative? What is the negative aspect here? Which is very deeply threatened. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ hotspot ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Eastern Himalayas is the best example. Eastern Himalayas ಬಿಟ್ರೆ Western Ghats, ಅದು ಒಂದು mountain region ಅಲ್ವಾ? So other two are, one is Nicobar, that is Sundaland. The other one is what do you call as Western Ghats, Sundaland, Himalayan, and Indo-Myanmar region, a northeast region. 4 biodiversity hotspot, but we are talking about mountains here. Eastern Himalayas ಬಗ್ಗೆ focus ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So the Eastern Himalayas are recognized by the World Wildlife Fund for harboring thousands of species, including 10,000 plants, 900 bird species, 300 mammal species, many of which are endangered. Northeasterly, only if you take Arunachal, only if you consider Arunachal Pradesh has such a avian population, bird species, which we have nowhere else in the world. Only in one particular state we are talking about. Okay, so and even when we consider the other wildlife apart from this specifically, it supports dense population of Bengal tigers, Asian elephants. Here also in the northeastern part, one-horned rhinos, and it is known for snow leopards, red pandas, takins, Himalayan black bears, golden langurs. So especially when you see Arunachal, that is the easternmost I'm speaking about. That's why I'm considering that, wherein it has, at least it is the home for 4 major big cats of India. In Arunachal, we have snow leopard, common leopard, clouded leopard, tiger. One more 5th big cat is lion, that is in Gir forest. But ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಒಂದೇ ಕಡೆ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಮೌಂಟೇನಿಯಸ್ ರೀಜನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. Then rare river dolphin, Eastern Himalayas ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ, of course we are not talking about the mountain region, the rivers that flow in this region, Ganga, Brahmaputra, etc. We have river dolphins also. So wide variety we can see in the mountainous region in different parts of the world. One example is India, and we can actually connect this Humboldt's enigma to India's mountain biodiversity. So article is very just generalizing or no understanding the opinion, but a terminology ellige connect agutte anta nodkombekagutte. Okay, then recently coronal mass ejections was recently in news. You might have come across this. Coronal mass ejections another, it is related to sun. So an Indian Institute of Astrophysics team, along with their international collaborators, recently developed a new model of the internal thermal evolution of coronal mass ejection as they travel from sun toward the earth. Andre model na develop madidare, adu ondu news. Okay, Indian Institute of Astrophysics have developed a model. Yadru ಬಗ್ಗೆ? Coronal mass ejections ಬಗ್ಗೆ. What is this coronal mass ejection? Ejections or the outbursts from the sun. So what are the CME actually mean? The news is regarding developing a model, but we have to more focus on the sun itself. ಯಾಕೆ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಂಡಿಯಾಸ್ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಲಾಂಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಆದಿತ್ಯ L1 ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆನ್ sun's core, or why sun matters to us, obviously, and anything and everything around the sun is very important because that is the only source of light energy, warmth and heat energy, etc. So anything that happens in its interior matters to us. We cannot say that we actually can control it, but it's better to understand it, observe them. So what are CME? CMEs are the large expulsions antandre outpouring of plasma, because stars are in plasma state and sun is a star, right? Sun is nothing but the fusion of helium and hydrogen. It is sometimes it is a misnomer, we say it is a fireball. Basically, it is hydrogen and helium. That's the funny part. Anyway, and magnetic field from the sun's atmosphere. Sun's atmosphere, the corona. Corona, now outer part of the sun. One of the layers of the sun is corona that propagate outward into interplanetary space. Sun will because of the changes that is happening in the sun, right? The outburst ಈ planet ಗೆ effect ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, where they are revolving around the sun. It will affect. It keeps on outbursting or outpouring in the interplanetary space. So during a CME, the sun releases a colossal amount of material, a huge amount of material, including electrons, protons, and heavier ions, as well as magnetic fields also. ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಒಂದು changes ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. But ಅಲ್ಲಿ coronal mass ejections ಆದ್ರೆ, why are we concerned? What is the idea behind this? Right? So this is a depiction here. So Earth has its magnetic field. Likewise, Sun also has its magnetic field. Earth's magnetic field, if school level kaltirtira alva, bulged near the equator, narrow near the poles anta alva, stronger near the poles, weaker near the equator anta. That is the magnetic field of the Earth. So in a way, it is like a shield for us. So yav ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ impact ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ coronal mass ejection ಆದ್ರೆ ಅಂತ. Climate change is the very remote part. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ coronal mass ejection ಆಗದೆ ಒಂದು reason ಇದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ every once in 11 years ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, it is said that the poles of the sun will flip north to south, south to north, flip ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, change ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ Earth ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬೇರೆ planets ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. But it happens once in 1,000 years, 10,000 years, it happens. But when it comes to sun, it happens once in 11 years. 11ನೇ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ನೀವು ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೆಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲ್ತಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಕೇಳಿರ್ತೀರ, ಕಲಿತೀರ. ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಎವ್ರಿ 11th ಇಯರ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇದು ಫ್ಲಿಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಫ್ಲಿಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ 11 years ತನಕ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ ಸನ್ ಒಳಗೆ, ಸನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಏನು ಈ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Relatively lower temperature than the actual temperature of the sun. The temperature of the sun is 4,000 Kelvin, approximately 4,000 Kelvin. ಈ 4,000 Kelvin ನೇ ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಸನ್ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ಸ್ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಕೂಲರ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಕೂಲರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? 3,800 Kelvin ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕೂಲರ್. ಸೊ ಯಾವಾಗ ಈ ಸನ್ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ರೀಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ರೀಚಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಸನ್, ಫುಲ್ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಫ್ಲಿಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್. ಆ ಎಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಏನು? ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಫ್ಲೇರ್ಸ್, ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್, ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಔಟ್ಬಸ್ಟ್. ಒಂದ್ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ವಾಲ್ಕೆನೋ ಅಥವಾ ವೇವ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ ತರ ಕ್ರಾಶ್, ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಔಟ್ಬಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಔಟ್ಬಸ್ಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಡ್ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್ ದಿ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ಲಾನೆಟರಿ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್, ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹೀಗೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗೋ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ತ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಹೋಪ್ ಯು ಆರ್ following this. So the interaction between CME's magnetic fields and Earth's magnetosphere can lead to geomagnetic storms. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, this will hit the Earth. You can see this will try to hit the Earth. Luckily we have this magnetic field. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, it acts like an umbrella. ಈ magnetic field ನೀವೇನ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ Earth ದು, it acts like an umbrella. So it is like this, right? It is weaker near the poles. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಸಂದು ಎಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂಬ್ರೆಲಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ನೀವು when you hold an umbrella, when water droplets fall on that or rain fall on that, what happens, it bounces off ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಬೌನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇನು ಬೀಳಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಬೀಳಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಸಮ್ವೇರ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಈ ಸಮ್ವೇರ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಕರಿತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್, here it is Earth, here it is sun's ejections, here we have magnetic field. Okay, so illi hit agi illi divert agutte. It will try to hit here because we have this magnetic field. It will go here near the poles. Ee ರೀತಿ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, there are different what do you call as implications. ಒಂದು geomagnetic storms ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. It can disrupt remotely, ad effect ಆಗುತ್ತೆ Earth ಮೇಲೆ. It will disrupt the telecommunication, satellite communication, navigation system, power grids, electrical grids, There are many instances in the past in 1860s, I guess, Carrington ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಸಿಟಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ವಿಲೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಕ್ಸಿಕೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಪವರ್ ಗ್ರಿಡ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ದೇರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಪವರ್ ಗ್ರಿಡ್, ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿ, ಆವಾಗ ಟೆಲಿಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಟೆಲಿಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಡಿಸ್ರಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಮತ್ತು huge amount of, I mean, forest fire, like the entire, it was like burning, the entire place was burning because of the sun's flare. ಇದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ every once in 11 years, ಅಂದ್ರೆ it is easy to calculate. It happened in 2013. ಈಗ 11th year, 2024, 11th year, any time of the year this can happen, or it is already begun. And when we connect it to the global warming, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ we can see the warmth. We are not telling that sun is shining bright, that is why we are having global warming or climate change. We very well know that we humans are responsible for it, but sundu ee ondu activity nu karanane agutte anta helbodu. That is geomagnetic storm. One more fascinating thing is the spectacular display of northern and southern lights, aurora anta enanta karitivi. You might have seen in Norway, Iceland, Finland, New Zealand, Australia, ee jagadalli north alladre adanna ನಾವು aurora borealis anta karitivi. Geographically you might have learned. Have you learned? In south we call it as aurora australis anta karitivi. In northern lights ಮತ್ತು southern lights ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. Northern lights, southern lights, the spectacular colorful shades on the in the sky. ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಹಿಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಅಟ್ಮಾಸ್ಫಿಯರಿಕ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್, ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್, ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಕಲರ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ, ಬ್ಲೂ, ಪಿಂಕ್, ಯೆಲ್ಲೋ ಎಲ್ಲ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು, these flares, solar flares are actually interacting with the atmospheric gases. Idu sun alli, sorry, excuse me, the sky alli enagutte, we have this various spectacular light events that happens. Okay, this is called as auroras. Then radiation hazards. Radiation hazards enagubodu, astronauts in space or passengers on high altitude flights can be exposed to elevated levels of radiation during CME event. So high altitude flights ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಪ್ಯಾಸೆಂಜರ್ಸ್ ಯಾರೇ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಪ್ಯಾಸೆಂಜರ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಹೈ ಆಲ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಫ್ಲೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, CME event ಗೆ ಈ event ಇಂದ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ ಅರ್ತ್. ದ ಟೇಕ್ ಅವೇ ಫಾರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಇಸ್, ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಒಂದು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್, ಅದು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದು ಇನ್ನೋವೇಷನ್ ಏನು ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ, ಈಗ ಆದಿತ್ಯ L1 ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಬೇಕು. ಸನ್, ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ sun, its layers or its basic idea about science and tech ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಜನರಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಓದ್ತಿರೋ ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಬೇಕು. And these aspects. Okay, hope you got the idea. Did you understand? Solar flare andre ade, this is how the solar flare occurs. It is an intense burst of radiation coming from the release of magnetic energy associated with sunspots. Flares are our solar system's largest explosive events. They are seen as bright areas on the sun. They can last from minutes to hours. ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಫ್ಲೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ outburst. Okay, ಕಿಡಿ, ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸೈಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಿಡಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. In a matter of just few minutes, they heat the material to many millions of degrees and produce a burst of radiation across the electromagnetic spectrum, including radio waves to X-rays and gamma rays. Although solar flares can be visible in white light, they are often more readily noticed. They are bright X-ray and ultraviolet emission. This is solar flare. When you get the notes, you can go through it. Hope some idea you got, I believe. So one more under science and tech only, we'll go and look into it. Sorry, there is one mistake here. Flue gas, okay, flue gas desulfurization. Recently it was in news. Flue gas desulfurization. When Earth changed magnetic poles, Mariana's compass will, yes, that's what. Every planet is subjected to flip of the poles, but sun is like every 11 years. So the Union Minister for Power and New and Renewable Energy recently informed about the installation of the flue gas desulfurization equipment. And desulfurization andre yeno, athwa why sulfur we are focusing on. Iga when we speak about the Bharat stage kelirtirva, Bharat stage 1 2 3 6, iga fuel emission standards ಏನಂತ ಅಂತೀವಿ, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ನಾವು ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದೇನು sulfur. Why sulfur? Why are we concerned about sulfur? Because sulfur in its compound form, sulfur dioxide, especially sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is an air pollutant. It is a constituent of acid rain. Yes, right? So many maybe organisms like lichens or architecture, or there are Forest, any changes we can see outrightly witnesses because of the presence of the sulfur. So they are living organisms are sensitive to sulfur, not only living, architecture also, right? So ಈಗ ಈ ಪವರ್ ಈ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಡಿಸಲ್ಫರೈಸೇಷನ್ ಎಕ್ವಿಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಪವರ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಮ್ಯಾಂಡೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಪವರ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಎಮಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಲೂ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಡಿಸಲ್ಫರೈಸೇಷನ್ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಕ್ವಿಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಅದೇನು ಇಕ್ವಿಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ವೈ ಇಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ಸ್ ಟು ಅಸ್? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಏಮಿಂಗ್ ಟು ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಎಮಿಷನ್ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏರ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಮತ್ತೊಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್. I think sulfur dioxide again, oxides of sulfur can be part of greenhouse gases also. That's the reason. So all thermal power plants are required to comply with the emission norms notified by MOEFCC. And ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನೇ ನಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೂ MOEFCC ಮತ್ತು CPCB ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. MOEFCC ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ, Pollution Control Board is the main authority. Keep that in mind. Okay. So thermal power plants located in the ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತದ್ದು, located in the states of eastern region, including Bihar, West Bengal, Odisha, Assam, and Jharkhand, are in the various stages of upgradation and installation of emission control equipment as per the timeline specified. So ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ timeline ಕೊಟ್ಟು desulfurization equipment ನ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ಅಥವಾ ಸಲ್ಫರ್, the concept of sulfur itself we should be knowing. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, see, in the exam sulfur, ಈ ಸಲ್ಫರೈಸೇಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಆನ್ ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಬಯೋಜಿಯೋಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಸೈಕಲ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಸೈಕಲ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಆಸಿಡ್ ರೇನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ದೋ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂಸ್, ವಿ ಗೋ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಾಟಿಕ್, ಆರ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆನು ಇದ್ರ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲೇಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆನು ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದೇ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು ದಿ ಏರ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್, ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಆರ್ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ವಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್, ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಫ್ಲೂ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ desulfurization mean? It is a technology to eliminate sulfur dioxide from exhaust emissions. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೇನ್ ಕಲ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಈಗ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ನಾವು ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿನ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಪವರ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ನ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಎಮಿಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ನಾವ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಫ್ಲೂ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಡಿಸಲ್ಫರೈಸೇಷನ್. ಈ ಎಕ್ಸಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ಎಮಿಟ್ ಆಗೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಹೌ ಡು ವಿ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಇಟ್? ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ entire plant here. They suspend calcium carbonate, limestone na suspend ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಇದ್ರೊಳಗೆ. So they use calcium carbonate and water. ಇದು ಎರಡು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ನ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಫಿಲ್ಟರ್, ಮತ್ತು ಆಸಿಡ್ ರೇನ್ ನ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಎಮಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಎನಿವೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್. ಎಲ್ಲೂ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಪವರ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿಸಲ್ಫರೈಸೇಷನ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ನೋ ದಿಸ್, ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ವೇರ್ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಸಲ್ಫರ್. ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ನ ನೀವು ಮೇನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಇಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್, ಫ್ಲೂ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಲೂ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಡಿಸಲ್ಫರೈಸೇಷನ್ what you call as equipment ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ವೇ ಫಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ, ವೈ ಆರ್ ವಿ ವರಿಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್? ಫಾಸಿಲ್ ಫ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ such as coal and oil contain high amounts of sulfur. When these fuels are burned, around 95% or more of sulfur is converted into sulfur dioxide, which is emitted as a flue gas. ಸೊ ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು ಫಾಸಿಲ್ ಫ್ಯೂಲ್ ಕೋಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಆಯಿಲ್ ನ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, 95% ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಇಸ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇಂಟು ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಫ್ಲೂ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಅದು ಎಮಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Sulfur dioxide in itself is a major air pollutant which impacts all life. So the removal of sulfur dioxide is critical to establish a safe and clean environment where toxic emissions are kept to a safe level. So idakoskara ನಾವು what you call as we are implementing this part, flue gas sulfurization. We already know Delhi air pollution ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ air pollution is a big menace. ಮೇನ್ ಕಲ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಯಾವುದು? ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಏರ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಟೆಂಟ್ ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ಇಕ್ವಿಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿನ್ಯೂವೇಬಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅಥವಾ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಈವನ್ ಭಾರತ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಅದೇನೆ, ಎಮಿಷನ್ ನಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್, ರಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ನ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಐಡಿಯಾ? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಎಸ್, this is what we have today. I have other two smaller miscellaneous topics I have added in the notes. You can go through that. So for today we will wind up with this. Okay, so hope you have learned some of the topics what we have seen. Some you might have read beyond this also. Hope this is a value addition to your preparation of current affairs. Okay. Ultimately, ಏನೇ ಒಂದು ಓದ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ try to understand it, conceptual clarity idre any question asked on that will be easier. Okay. Yes, any questions you have, you can ask, or else we can call it a day. We'll find up the session. Okay, thank you so much. And we'll meet in the next session. Take care.